Hello, this is Mr. Fritz, chess coach at Thornridge High School, making a video for the Dolton Library and the Dolton Club that we are going to start on Saturday mornings. Okay? Starting right here, we're going to start library chess sessions. As I said, I'm Paul Fritz, Thornridge Varsity Chess Coach. The first session is going to be August 22nd, 2020 from 11 a.m. through noon. Please contact Mrs. Bird at the Dolton Library and she can get you signed up for the youth sessions, ages 10 and up. Okay? So here's a little bit about my contact information. There's my work email, chess.com, name is 205 Fritz, chess.com club name. I've started a club that hopefully we get some members called Dolton Chess Club. I'll show how to get into that shortly. And then my Twitter contact for this program is Mr. Fritz Outreach. All right, so this club is going to be open to anybody ages 10 and above. The high schoolers are encouraged to join, especially if they're part of my chess club or chess team. Middle schoolers, all the way to 10 years old. And don't worry if you don't know how to play. Anything like that, I can teach during our collaborative Google Meet sessions, or we can arrange some other tutoring sessions with either myself or one of the chess players from my team, depending on what is needed. But all levels of ability are encouraged to learn about the chess game and join the club and meet some new people. It's a good game to learn critical thinking skills, community skills, math skills, a lot of geometry and spatial analysis too. All right, so the first session that we have on Saturday, August 22nd, we're going to go over rules of the game, puzzles, collaborative review of a game, and talk about the different resources that are available. The rest of this video will also talk about that in case that you're not able to attend our session on Saturday. But our session on Saturday will be a little different, where it'll be catered more towards people's personal questions about the game, how to get better, and going along with this agenda as well. All right. So when we meet on Saturday, we'll talk about schools we attend, experience level, just to get to know each other, things like that. I'm Mr. Fritz. I'm the chemistry teacher and chess coach at Thornridge since 2006, and I'm an intermediate chess player. Some players on my team, when they get good enough, they're able to challenge me, sometimes beat me. Some of them will consistently beat me by the time they're done with my program. And I've got no problem with that. I'm a good player, but I'm not a top player of the world by any means. But I do have something that I can teach, and I just love being able to help players get better, to learn the team aspect, and also to meet others either in the community or outside of the community. There's a picture of me right there with my chemistry goggles. As you can see, I'm also a chemistry teacher, the lead chemistry teacher at Thornridge. So I might talk about science here and there during this club as well. All right, so getting to the rules of chess. Okay. The right shows the rules right here. Let's see if I can try and zoom in a little bit here so that people can see it a little better, or you could try and, that didn't work, you could try and zoom on your screen. So here we go. The first piece on a chessboard is called the pawn. A player gets 8 pawns, and they're aligned on what's called the second rank of the board. And the pawns are the most minor piece on the board. They can only move forward, okay? But if another piece is in front of them, they can't move forward and take that piece. To capture with a pawn, the pawn must move diagonally, which is different than it normally moves. So the pawn moves up either 1 or 2 squares its first move, and then one space each additional move. Okay. The knight right here, it looks like a horse. A lot of people will call it the horse, but as you know, when you get to be a basic chess player, it's important to call things by the right name. It's called a knight. It moves in an L shape, either 2 up and 1 left or right, or 1 up and 2 left or right. And it could go backwards too. So when I say up, it could also go 2 back and 1 left or right as well. So a knight, if a knight is in the middle of the board, and there's no other pieces on the board, the knight has 8 possible moves that it can make. So for a basic player that has a lot of time in a game, when you're thinking of moving a knight, you want to look at all the possible ways that a knight can move before deciding what's the best way to, best spot to move it. The next piece on the board is called the bishop. The bishop is going to move diagonally. Okay, so if a bishop is in one corner of the board, it can move all the way to the other corner as long as it doesn't move over any pieces. Okay, for instance, if it's in the bottom right corner, it could move all the way to the top left corner. Bishops, you get 1 bishop that is on the white squares and 1 bishop that's on the black squares. And as the game progresses, those bishops will stay on their color. Okay, so if a bishop started on a white square, it will stay on a white square the whole game. And likewise, if it started on black, it'll stay on black the entire game. So you can tell if there's a newer player, somebody made a mistake. One common thing that you'll see is that you'll have 2 bishops for the black team, and they might both be on white or both be on black squares. And that will tell you that somebody made a mistake somewhere along the lines. Okay? The next important piece is called the rook. Right there, kind of looks like a castle. Some people will call it a castle. But the rook is going to move straight as far as it can. So if it's on the first row, it could move all the way to the last row if there's nothing in between. And if it's on the far left row, it could move all the way to the far right row if there's nothing in between. So because of that, the rook does have a decent amount of power. And we'll get into the power of the pieces later on in this program. Okay? Probably in another week or 2. So the queen, what's good about the queen, as its name emphasizes, is one of the most important pieces on the board. The queen can act just like a bishop, or it can act like a rook. It's your choice. So it has the power of 2 pieces. So very dangerous because it is basically like 2 pieces in one. Okay, so you really want to protect your queen. If you're a passive player, if you're real aggressive, some people will get real aggressive with their queens. Okay. But the most important piece on the board is the king. The king can only move 1 space in any direction. So if the king is in the center of the board, the king has 9 possible spaces it can go on. 1 space in any direction, frontward, backward, sideways, diagonal. Turns out there's 9 ways that a king can go. Okay? But what's important about the king is if your king were to get captured, the game would end. And the game actually ends before your king gets captured. There's 2 terms that are important. One is called check. That's if your opponent puts his or her piece in a location where your king would get threatened on your opponent's next move. They'll usually say check when they do that, and that'll be a cue for you to move your king somewhere else. Okay? If there's nowhere for your king to move and you can't take the piece that is threatening the king, and you can't put anything in front of the king so that it's no longer being attacked, that's when you announce to your opponent, I am in checkmate, and in that case, your opponent would win the game. And you shake hands, and you be sportsmanlike, because it's always important. Chess is known as the gentleman's game. It's important that you show sportsmanship during all times of the game. So there is a briefing on what each of the pieces do. Hopefully some of you will join and do sign-ups for the August the 22nd Saturday session from 11 a.m. to noon. As I've put right here, session 1, August 22nd, 2020, 11 a.m. through noon. We'll go over how to use chess.com, how to look at puzzles, how to use the pieces of the game, how to move them, and anything else that we feel like we need to hit. I'm excited to see some of you at our meeting, 11 a.m. through noon at the Dolton Library virtual sessions. Sign up for the Google Meets session, and I'll be sending the library a link that you can access. Thank you.